You're listening to WBGU FM 88.1 and HD1, Bowling Green, Ohio.
WBGU FM is brought to you by Aardvark Screen Printing and Embroidery. Want to print a funny family quote on a mug or get some matching t-shirts for a family reunion? Aardvark Screen Printing and Embroidery can help. A veteran-owned family business serving the community for more than 25 years. Located at 123 South Main Street, Bowling Green, Ohio, and always open at aardvarkspe.com.
Welcome to another edition of MICK'S. You are indeed tuned into WBGU FM. It's 8:01 p.m. on this lovely Monday evening. I remember when I used to look outside, it would be 8 p.m. and it would be pitch black outside. But now it looks like it's, 4 or something. Although it does look like it's gonna rain. I definitely got that vibe from the outdoors. From Mother Earth. Alright, so I wasn't here last Monday because I was extremely tired. I had given blood. I don't know, and I was debating on whether or not to tell the story because I forgot if I did or not. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, 2 Thursdays ago, I gave blood, but I didn't get to finish giving blood because my blood stopped moving. It started to clot up, coagulate and whatnot, and so I had to stop. And then I just drank a bunch of liquid because that's what I did the previous 2 times, you know. And then I almost fainted, and then I stuffed a pizza down my throat, and then I puked hours later, 9 p.m. So that was just a horrible day. So it took a bit for me to recover. So last Monday I napped. But this Monday, I'm here, and the theme for tonight's show is split, actually. For the first hour, it's going to be songs from the year 1970, and for the second hour, or almost hour at least, we're going to hear one whole record. I don't have the actual vinyl with me, unfortunately, but I have a download of it, and I'll just tell you now, so you stick around to listen. It's Gundella, telling you how to be a witch, how to become a witch. So that's going to be really interesting. But for now, let's start with songs that were recorded in the year 1970. So first we have Ooh Child by the 5 Stair Steps here on MICK'S on WBGU FM.
Child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll put it together and we'll get it undone. Someday when your head is much lighter. Of a beautiful sun, someday when the world is much brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier. Ooh, child, things will be brighter. brighter. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Right now. Yeah. Right now. Oh, baby. Right now. And you just wait and see how things are gonna be. Right now. And you just wait and see how things are gonna be. Right now. You just wait and see.
Beside a singing mountain stream, where the willow grew, where the silver leaf of maple sparkled in the morning dew, I braided twigs of willow, made a string of buckeye beads. But flesh and blood needs flesh and blood, and you're the one I need. Flesh and blood needs flesh and blood, and you're the one I need. I leaned against the bark of birch, and I breathed the honeydew. I saw a northbound flock of geese against a sky of baby blue. Beside the lily pads, I carved a whistle from a reed. Mother Nature's quite a lady, but you're the one I need. Flesh and blood needs flesh and blood, and you're the one I need. A cardinal sang just for me, and I thanked him for the song. Then the sun went slowly down the west, and I had to move along. These were some of the things on which my mind and spirit feed. But flesh and blood needs flesh and blood, and you're the one I need. Flesh and blood needs flesh and blood, and you're the one I need. So when the day was ended, I was still not satisfied, for I knew everything I touched would wither and would die. And love is all that will remain and grow from all these seed. Mother Nature's quite a lady, but you're the one I need. Flesh and blood needs flesh and blood, and you're the one I need.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Now it doesn't She would never say where she came from. Yesterday don't matter, 'cause it's gone. While the sun is bright, or in the darkest night, no one knows. She comes and then she goes. Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. Who is gonna hang her name on you? And when you change with every new day, still gonna miss you. Don't ask her why she leaves to be so free. She's gonna tell you it's the only way to be. She just can't be chained to a life where nothing's gained and nothing's lost. But such a cost. Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. Who is gonna hang her name on you? And when you change with every new day, still gonna miss you. Oh, there's no time to lose, I heard her say. You gotta catch your dreams before they run away. Dying all the time, lose your dreams and you might lose your mind. Is life unkind? Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. Who is gonna hang her name on you? And when you change with every new day, still gonna miss you. Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. Who is gonna hang her name on you? And when you change with every new day, still gonna miss you. Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. 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 Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday.
Hey, this is Adrian Glynn calling from Vancouver, Canada, and you and your ears are listening to the hippest underground station around, 88.1 out of Bowling Green, Ohio.
Throughout history, there have been many songs written about the eternal triangle. This next one tells the story of the folk era, the New Hungry Eye, and a condemned man named Britt Ruard. Fridays from 2 to 4 p.m., Britt Ruard must hang. And you can hang with Britt Ruart every Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. at the New Hungry Eye, where you'll hear the best music from the folk era and beyond with artists such as Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie, Arlo Guthrie, Josh White Jr., Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, the Chad Mitchell Trio, the Smothers Brothers, Jon Stewart, the Kingston Trio, and so many others. The show airs Fridays from 2 to 4 p.m. with the Ramblin' Boy Britt Ruart. We'll see you there, and folk on.
To buy your home, you became a house hunting ace, learned about loans, scoured neighborhoods, and asked the right questions. Now you're queen of your castle. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you will feel empowered to own your retirement like you own your home. Go to aceyourretirement.org. Because when it comes to clearing financial hurdles, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, let's see what songs we have played. We heard Ooh Child by the Five Stair Steps. That was off of the single, that was the A-side, and then Who Do You Belong To was the B-side from 1970 off of Buddha Records. Then you heard Flesh and Blood by Johnny Cash, and that was also a single on Columbia. And then you heard The Tears of a Clown by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. Another single off of Tamla Motown. They must have combined, because in the Music Archive Library we have a Motown section and a Tamla section. So they must have joined forces at some point. And then you heard Ruby Tuesday cover by Melanie from her album Candles in the Rain, also on Buddha Records. So we're still doing songs for this whole hour, rest of this whole hour, that are from the year 1970. Next up, Love Grows by Edison Lighthouse, here on MICK'S on WBGU FM.
Say she's crazy and her life's a mystery. Oh, but love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me. There's something about her head on her mind. It's a feeling that's fine, and I just gotta say, hey, she's really got a magical spell, and it's working so well that I can't get away. I'm a lucky fella, and I just gotta tell her that I love her endlessly. Because love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me. There's something about her head on her mind. It's a feeling that's fine, and I just gotta say, hey, Life is the learning way, and there's a bit of the wizard in man. Put your blues away, paint a happy day, and find yourself a little bit of that sky. Just an inch of the blue, just a pinch of that sky. It's waiting for you, and you can't pass it by. When you get to that place, you're gonna realize if the wizard in you has done right, you can give up the chase, 'cause you've gotten the prize. It's a little tiny pinch of that sky, just an inch of the blue, just a pinch of that sky. It's waiting for you, and you can't pass it by. Just an inch of the blue, just a pinch of that sky. It's waiting for you, and you can't pass it by. Forget spending time on your neighbor's scheme. Find your own place to have your own dream. Just an inch of the blue, just a pinch of that sky. It's waiting for you, and you can't pass it by. Just an inch of the blue, just a pinch of that sky. It's waiting for you, and you can't pass it by. Just an inch of the blue, just a pinch of that sky. She hangs her head and cries in my shirt. She must be hurt very badly. Tell me what's making you sadly. Open your door, don't hide in the dark. You're lost in the dark, you can trust me, 'cause you know that's how it must be. Lisa, Lisa, sad Lisa, Lisa. Her eyes like windows, trickling rain upon her pain, getting deeper. Though my love wants to relieve her, she walks alone from wall to wall, lost in a hall. She can't hear me, though I know she likes to be near me. Lisa, Lisa, sad Lisa, Lisa. Sits in a corner by the door. There must be more I can tell her if she really wants me to help her. I'll do what I can to show her the way, and maybe one day I will free her. Though I know no one can see her. Lisa, Lisa, sad Lisa, Lisa.
Big white bird, gonna fly right out of here without a single word. But you know you'll break my heart when I watch you close that door, 'cause I know I won't see you anymore. Don't pour your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down right for 100 years. Don't pour your love out on me, honey. Take my heart, my soul, my money, but don't leave me drowning in my tears. Haven't I been good to you? What about that brand new ring? Doesn't that mean love to you? Doesn't that mean anything? If I threw away my pride and I got down on my knees, would you make me beg you pretty please? Don't pour your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down, cry for 100 years. Don't pour your love out on me, honey. Take my heart, my soul, my money, but don't leave me drowning in my tears. There's so much I wanna do. I've got love enough for two, but I'll never use a girl if I don't have you. Don't pour your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down right for 100 years. Don't pour your love out on me, honey. Take my heart, my soul, my money, but don't leave me drowning in my tears. Don't pour your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down right for 100 years. Don't pour your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down right for 100 years.
Broadcasted on the campus of Bowling Green State University from the Michael and Sarah Coolene Center, You're listening to WBGU FM on 88.1 and HD1, Bowling Green, Ohio.
WBGU FM is sponsored by Aardvark Screen Printing and Embroidery. Whether it's a business card holder for your desk, holiday gifts for employees, or promotional materials, Aardvark offers a wide variety of custom-made products for your business needs. Aardvark Screen Printing and Embroidery, a veteran-owned family business located at 123 South Main Street, Bowling Green, Ohio, and always open at aardvarkspe.com.
And we're back. It's 8:33 p.m. on this Monday evening. Let's do a bit of backlogging. What have we listened to? We heard Love Grows, parentheses, Where My Rosemary Goes, by Edison Lighthouse. That was a single on the Bell label. And then you heard A Little Bit of That Sky, and that was sung by none other than Ken Doll, like Barbie's boyfriend. That's what it says. That's the only name that's available. So, and that was released on Mattel. Mattel had a label, and it was the Fashion and Sound series that it was released on. I also have a Barbie song that I played before on this show. And anyway, then we heard Sad Lisa by Cat Stevens from the album T for the Tiller Man. And I had just heard something about somebody mentioned that album name. And I can't remember where it was, but it was very recent, so I thought that was interesting. And that was off A&M Records, and then you just got finished listening to Don't Pull Your Love by Joe Frank and Reynolds and Hamilton. And that was from the single. That was a single off of ABC and Dunhill. There's another combo. Interesting. All right, let's do some weather and events and things like that. So, it's gross. And there's going to be a low of 70 tonight, which isn't as bad as last night. It was a low of like 80. 50% chance, a few storms, maybe severe. And then tomorrow, which is Tuesday the 19th, mostly cloudy, 78 of a high. Yes, 78 of a high. And then 64 of a low. And Wednesday the 20th, scattered thunderstorms, high 73, low of 61. So it looks pretty steady temperatures throughout this whole week. And then some events that are happening. Well, this Friday, Justin Payne and Co. is playing, and also the Wildwoods are playing in store at Culture Clash Records in Toledo, and that starts at 5. So there's that. There's Toledo Music Fest 2018 with the band Helmet at the Civic Music Hall. That's June 30th. So a bit, what is that? Another 2 weeks away. So there's that stuff. And I have some updates from the Wood County Humane Society. So there are, oh, and actually I already told you guys about this yesterday, which was Sunday. That's so wild. When I did my Sherlock show, I helped with the unloading of 7 new doggies. And so none of them have been adopted yet because today, Monday, we're closed. So there are 7 new ones, and they're not quite yet on the Facebook page, like the photo albums, but I'll see if I can remember. So one of them is named Bowie, and he's like a big golden lab looking dog, very friendly, very calm, like a nice chill dog. And then he's bonded with another dog who I can't freaking remember his name. But he's like a small black and white dog, and I saw them in their kennel, the outside kennel, earlier today, and like they were playing around, you know. And Bowie had his, like, he's the big dog, had the small dog's like head, like entire head in his mouth. Like, it was just really weird. But they were like, I mean, that was definitely, but he wasn't biting or anything. It was just like how some dogs play, and that was pretty cute. There is, of course, Tic Tac, my darling girl, and she had a cone on today, so she has undergone some sort of surgery or medication or something like that. Tyrese is back, So that's exciting. He's 8 months old, and he's a stocky boy. He's gray, very energetic, very cute. Oh, golly, who else was there? Jerica. Yes, she's a 1-year-old female, mixed breed. She is extremely energetic. She just like loves everything. And as for, there are two black, like smallish dogs. They're both girls and they're sisters. And it's something like Lola and Zula, or like something like that, you know? And they're also obviously bonded together. And they're very cute. And then there's a hound, and he does the whole like woo, 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 like that. Like he's a real hound. And his name is Spigot. And there's another little stocky tan boy. Can't remember his name. Golly. And then there was Kaz. I think her name is Kaz. And she's very cute. I feel so, because I don't really know breeds very well. So when I'm doing these descriptions, it's like not very good. So sorry. But if you want to see some of the new doggies that came in, then go to the Wood County Humane Society tomorrow at noon. They open 801 Van Camp Road. All right, let's continue with the tunes. From 1970, this is Make Me Smile by the band Chicago here on WBGU FM.
Children play in the park. They don't know I'm alone in the dark, even though time and time again I see your face smiling inside. I'm so happy, that you love me. Oh, yeah, life is lovely. Oh, when you're near me, tell me you will stay, make me smile. Living life is just a game, so they say. All the games we used to play fade away. We may now enjoy the dreams we shared so long ago. Oh, my darling, oh, got to have you. Yeah, yeah, feel the magic.
Hi, this is Pat Silver, owner of Sphere Entertainment in Toronto, Canada. But I started here at Bowling Green State University with WBGU FM 88.1. And in those days, we made history because we changed the radio station from only classical music to freeform radio, to something you love right now. So stick with WBGU FM 88.1 for some of the very best programming in Ohio.
It's summertime, and that means baseball, barbecues, beaches, and great tunes. You can find those great tunes at the left of your dial on 88.1 WBGU FM and a most bodacious broadcast called Tear Down the Walls. Everything you'll hear on the show comes from vinyl and CD, featuring some of my favorite artists such as J.D. McPherson, J. Roddy Walston and the Business, The Gaslight Anthem, and Sarah Shook and the Disarmers. I'll have jams from local artists, keep you up to speed on tour dates, album releases, and all the local happenings going on here in Bowling Green and surrounding areas. Tear Down the Walls, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoons 2 to 5 p.m. only on 88.1 FM, as well as WBGUFM.com or the TuneIn app anywhere around the world. Party on, dudes!
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Howdy. Okay, it's 8:50, so we're almost into the second hour of the show, but we still have actually quite a good chunk of songs left to play. But first, we played Make Me Smile by Chicago from their single, and the B-side was Color My World. Color, spelled with a U. And then I tried to play a song, and it sounded bad. I don't know what had happened on the CD, but it was skippy and weird. So I instead played the Daily Double, which was Valentine Day and The Lovely Linda by Paul McCartney from the album McCartney. And then you just got finished listening to Cecilia by Simon and Garfunkel. Simon and Garfunkel. All right, we're going to continue on. We have No Sugar Tonight by the Guess Who. Combined with New Mother Nature. I guess it's like two in one. You get 2 for 1. Yes. All right. And it's here on MICK'S Mix on WBGU FM.
Lonely feeling deep inside. Find a corner where I can hide. Silent footsteps crowding me. Sudden darkness No sugar to stand beside me. No sugar to run with me. Dun da 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 dun da down. Dun da 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 dun down. Dun da 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 dun da down. Dun da da da. Jocko says yes, and I believe him when we talk about the things I say. She hasn't got the faith or the guts to leave him when they're standing in each other's way. You're tripping back now to places you've been to. You wonder what you're gonna find. You know you've been wrong, but it won't be long before you leave them all far behind. 'Cause it's the new Mother Nature taking over. It's the new splendid lady come to go. It's the new Mother Nature taking over. She's getting us all. She's getting us all. Jocko said no when I came back last time. It's looking like I lost a friend. No use calling 'cause the sky is falling and I'm getting pretty near the end. A smoke-filled room in a corner basement. The situation must be right. A bag of goodies and a bottle of wine. We're gonna get it on right tonight. 'Cause it's the new Mother Nature taking over. It's the new splendid lady come to go. It's the new Mother Nature taking over. She's getting us all. She's getting us all. Lonely feelings, yes, and I believe inside the things I say. Find the corner, got the faith or the guts to leave them when they're standing in each other's way. Silent footsteps out to places you've been to. You wonder what you're gonna find. Sudden darkness, strong, and it won't be long before you leave them all far behind. 'Cause it's the new Mother Nature taking over. It's the new splendid lady come to call. It's the new Mother Nature taking over. She's getting us all. She's getting us all.
There's nothing you can do, girl. There's nothing you can say. You're talking to the sky, babe. I just got to get away. Got to hear the wind song singing in my ear. Got to get it on, girl, and I'll never make it here. 'Cause the wind was my mother, the highway is my brother. I was born to wander, and it's time for moving on. I was born to wander, turn around and I'll be gone, gone, gone. I'm just following my heart, girl, and it's following the sun. Looking for an answer I know may never come, but I got to chase my dream, girl, like a river to the sea. Got to find the rainbow that's waiting there for me. 'Cause the wind was my mother, the highway is my brother. I was born to wander, and it's time for moving on. I was born to wander, turn around and I'll be gone, gone.
This is Michaela, former head music director from 2015 to 2018, and you're listening to the coolest radio station around, WBGU FM on 88.1 and HD1, Bowling Green, Ohio.
Community sponsorship for WBGU programming is brought to you by Grounds for Thought, a local coffee shop offering vintage books, vinyl, comics, and a selection of home-baked goods. Grounds for Thought, located at 174 South Main Street, Bowling Green, Ohio.
Hello, it's 9:01 p.m. You're listening to MICK'S. I'm your host, DJ Mick. The theme for tonight's episode is songs from the year 1970. And recently, we have played No Sugar Tonight / New Mother Nature by the Guess Who from their album American Woman on RCA Victor. And then you heard Born to Wander by Rare Earth from their album Ecology. And we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more songs left from 1970, and then we're going to get into, it's called The Hour of the Witch by Gondella. But first, we're going to hear from Poco. This is You Better Think Twice on MICK'S on WBGU FM.
Better think twice about leaving me behind. Make up your mind about what you're gonna do. You know it ain't easy when your love hurts night and day. Oh, how you please when I hear you call my name breathlessly. I'll wait a moment to surround you. The song that makes you sing, it'll offer you wings to fly away, but do not expect to land if you can't stay. You better think twice about leaving me behind. Make up your mind about what you're gonna do. You take my advice. Oh, woman, you've got to choose. Take a little time. Got nothing more to lose. In time, you know my melody will haunt you. Your words can make it rhyme so easily. It ain't no sin when love is real. So come on and let me know just how you feel. You better think twice about leaving me behind. Make up your mind about what you're gonna do. You take my advice. Oh, woman, you've got to choose. Take a little time.
Isn't it quiet and cold, walking all alone, alone? Happened I missed the bus and found I had to walk alone. What was that? Only me. Hear the echo of my feet. Footsteps, are they mine? Hear the echo of the street. Wish to live near at hand, although I live alone, alone. At least I'll find company, so why should I moan alone? Movement by my feet, paper wind across the street. Curtains closed, sleepy heads wrapped together in their beds. I used to walk with someone else. I didn't seem to notice sights and sounds of the lonely street. I used to talk with someone else. Now the only answers are the calls of the night. Look at that alley cat, it's winding home to rest alone. 4:30, and daylight shows itself once more, walking all alone, walking all alone.
I'm one of those people my father tells my sister not to go out with. If I get you in a corner, you can guarantee I want more than a good night kiss. Can you tell by looking at you, got it down, but I'm gonna so find out. In the meantime, while I'm looking by a Kama Sutra book and work the whole thing out, the whole thing out. One of those people my father tells my sister not to go out with. If you do not get what you are, you can provide the cure. Let the whole thing drip. If you're having reservation and inclined to hesitation, better miss me out. In the meantime, while I'm looking by the Kama Sutra book and work the whole thing out, the whole thing out. paper likes to write about the double bound headlines. In a Frankfurt feeling all up how they love to shout. You gotta tell by looking all it takes to make this wild, and you soon find out. In the meantime, while I'm looking by the Kama Sutra, figure out the whole thing out, the whole thing out. In the meantime, while I'm looking by the Kama Sutra, figure out the whole thing out, the whole thing out. Because I'm one of those people like my father told me, sister, not to go out, to go out, to go out. I'm one of those people like my father told me, sister, not to go out, go out, go out. Because I'm one of those people like my father told me, sister, not to go out.
Hey, what's going on? This is Ray B's. This is Todd. What band are we in, Todd the Kid? Warzone. We're still in Warzone after all these years, and you're checking out WBGU 88.1 FM, Bowling Green, Ohio. Keeping the revolution alive, keep it in the streets, and right from the sound of revolution.
Of course, I want our kids to eat fresh, healthy foods all the time. But we don't have a supermarket nearby, so it's a challenge.
I wish we were closer to good health care because of our son's asthma. Frankly, it's scary at times.
I'd love for our family to live in a nice house, near a great school, but...
But none of these resources exist in our neighborhood.
Many variables can shape the outcome of children's lives, like the zip code where they grow up. That's because not all communities have the same opportunities, such as quality schools and housing, fresh food, and good healthcare. There are many ways to improve communities, so everyone has a fair chance, regardless of zip code. You can make a difference. Join with HUD and local leaders to improve your community. Learn how at hud.gov/fairhousing. That's hud.gov/fairhousing. Fair housing, shared opportunity in every community. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Soon after humans began to walk upright, they invented folk music, and folk music was the only music, and it was good. Then came civilization, and rival musical genres arose. Gregorian chant, classical music, jazz, rock and roll, and there was cacophony, but folk music survived, and when the economy and technology collapse and civilization devolves into barbarism, these upstart genres will fall away, and folk music will rise again to its natural dominance. You can prepare yourself now for that inevitable future by tuning in to the Folk Music Show Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. on WBGU 88.1.
(9:18 p.m. on this Monday evening. And what have we been playing? Songs from 1970. We heard You Better Think Twice by Poco. That was a single off the Epic label. Then we heard Isn't It Quiet and Cold by Gentle Giant off the eponymous album. And then we heard One of Those People by The Nice from their album Five Bridges. You don't want to be one of those people. I don't like those people. And then you heard Ride Into the Sun, the demo version by the Velvet Underground from the album Loaded. We have one more song, which very well may be my favorite song from 1970. And then, yeah, you know what? We'll do this one song. We'll do weather and events a little bit early, and then we'll get into the Hour of the Witch. So here is What is Life by George Harrison here on MICK'S Mix on WBGU FM.
You're listening to WBGU FM, 88.1 and HD1, Bowling Green, Ohio.
The Ohio Renaissance Festival returns for its 29th season at Renaissance Park Event Center in Waynesville, Ohio, every Saturday and Sunday between September 1st and October 28th, as well as Labor Day weekend. There will be hearty food and drink fit for royalty, 14 stages of endless entertainment, including swashbuckling pirates, knights in shining armor, dueling swordsmen, and so much more. Follow WBGU FM on Facebook for more information on how to win free tickets.
Hello. It's 9:24. It's a little bit early for the weather event, so we're going to do it anyway. Tonight, low of 71. Late night showers or thunderstorms, or both. Tomorrow, morning showers, high of 78, low of 64. And Wednesday, the 20th, more showers, high of 73, low of 61. All right. So, let's take a look at some of the cats that are available for adoption at the Wood County Humane Society. So we have Pumpernickel, 2-year-old male. He's very sweet. If you can get him out of he likes to go in the little like cubby things, little cubby cat houses. But if you can get him out of there, he'll sit right on your lap and just enjoy the petting. And then there are the brothers Stapleton and Upchurch. Very cute. They're very sweet cats. They're a bit shy together, but I think it's Upchurch who's a little bit more sociable. But they came, I'm pretty sure they came as strays, I think. But they're very, very cute. They're orange cats. And then there's Ewok, who is a lovely 7-year-old male domestic long hair. He has gray hair. His body, like the main trunk of his body, however, is shaved because of matting of his fur. So he has like a big floof face and floof feet, but a shaved body. And then there are some more. There, Botswana. There's Botswana. I think it's he's new. He's like a kind of black, a little bit of white, like mid-length fur cat. And he likes to meow and he loves petting. Let's see. There were a couple other ones. There were even a couple new ones when I went in today. Chewy. That's another one. Chewy is mostly orange but some white in his, and he looks at you. When he looks at you, he's really truly, yeah, he's very sweet too. So he is also available for adoption. And hey, stop on in tomorrow. They open at noon. I think it's from like noon to 5 or 4. But look them up on Facebook, and you can keep better updated. All right, so now it is time to play The Hour of the Witch. So this is from 1971. In Discogs, it's labeled as non-music, and the style is education. So it technically does have, it has 1 A-side and then 5 B-sides, but I mean, it just plays all the way through. So that's what I'm going to do. So if you've never wanted to learn how to be a witch, too bad, you're going to hear now. So this is Gundella here on WBGU FM.
Yes, I am a witch. Whenever I say that, people ask me questions like, how do you know you're a witch? When did you find out you were a witch? When they say things like this, I know that they know nothing at all about witchcraft. For being a witch is something you decide to do, not something that just happens to you if you're lucky. Oh, I was fortunate, for I was born into a family where witchcraft was a tradition. My mother was a witch, my grandmother, and her grandmother before her. In fact, we can trace our family background in witchcraft to somewhere in the 14th century in northern Scotland. At that time, there were three main cults of witches: the red, the blue, and the green. My family belonged to the green witch cult. It was traditional at that time for witches to smear vegetable coloring on their faces to identify with a particular cult to which they belong. And that's the reason that I, to this day, put green food coloring on my skin for particular occasions. But being born into a family with this kind of background did not make me a witch. I became a witch when I joined a coven. A coven is a group of anywhere from 2 to 13 people who practice in the tradition of the old religion of witchcraft. This religion is very, very old. It goes back to pre-Christian, pre-Jewish times, to the very beginnings of civilization. There are many Johnny-come-lately covens around today, people who want to be witches and can't get into a traditional coven have started forming their own. This is all right, I suppose. It is possible to practice magic without being a witch, and I'm going to show you how on this record. But I do object to people without the traditional belief calling themselves witches, and I wish they'd find another name, like warlock or wizard or sorceress or something of this sort, because a true witch is one who belongs to a coven that practices in that established tradition of the centuries. There are three main tenets to the belief of witchcraft. The first is a belief in a universal source of power from which we all come and to which we will all return. We believe that we have this power within us and that we can call on it both from within and without whenever need be. The second tenet of our belief is that of reincarnation. This means that we believe that each person has lived through many lives before this and will live through many in the future. This is important to us because it is part of our belief that eventually, when we reach perfection, we will be able to be reunited with the source from which we came. But we believe it is impossible to reach this state of perfection in only one lifetime. Now, these two things, the belief in a universal power, the belief in reincarnation, do not make witches very different from anyone else. The thing that makes people look upon us like we were creatures from another world is the third tenet of our belief, and that is magic. My definition for magic is anything that works that science has not been able to explain. Let me give you an example. There's an old fairy tale called Beauty and the Beast, with which most of you are probably familiar. And there's a passage in that fairy tale that I used to love very much as a child. It describes the entry of Beauty's father into the palace of the Beast for the first time. It goes something like this. The doors were opened by unseen hands. The room was lighted as if by 1,000 candles. there were no candles there. And suddenly, a voice spoke to him out of nowhere. I used to listen to this and think it was the greatest kind of magic. And now, you know, it happens to every one of us every time we go to the store. The doors are opened by unseen hands, an electric eye. The room is lighted as if by 1,000 candles. No candles there, fluorescent lights. And suddenly, a voice speaks to us out of nowhere, telling us to try their strawberries. They're on sale today. The PA system. Now, we don't think of these things as magic because we understand what makes them work. The same thing is true of a transistor radio. We take these very much for granted. But imagine when your grandmother was a small child, if someone had given her a little black box that she could hold in the palm of her hand and turn a little dial and hear voices speaking to her from all over the world at that very moment that they were uttering these sounds. And not only that, but on certain days, she could even hear men talking on the moon. Oh, wouldn't that have been magic? But we don't think of a transistor radio as magic. It's one of the most common things that we have. Now, I, personally, do not see anything more mystical or magical or unbelievable about the idea of a thought wave traveling from my mind to yours, or for that matter, around the world, than I do about the idea of radio waves traveling from one place to another. The only difference is that science has not yet come up with a machine sophisticated enough for measuring those thought waves. I believe that they will someday, and when they do, then magic won't be as mystical anymore. But until that day, there's still a great deal of supernatural feeling about casting a spell. And that's what this record is really all about. I want to talk about your power, not mine. It really doesn't make much difference to you what power I have. The thing that is important is what power you possess. And witches really do not have any powers that anyone else doesn't possess if they wish to develop them. For we're all born with this ability if we only work on it, practice on it, and bring it out. And this is why I'm talking to you today, so that you will be able, through the little test that I'm giving you, to discover these powers within yourself and learn to cast your own spells. Every one of you, if you are honest, will have to admit that at some time in your life you have had a psychic experience. Maybe it was as simple as going to call a friend on the telephone and getting a busy signal because that person was calling you at exactly that same moment. Maybe it was writing a letter and putting it in the mail, and the very next day receiving an answer from a person who had not yet received the letter that you sent them because they wrote their letter at the same time that you wrote yours. Coincidence? Maybe. But I think it happens far too often to be coincidence. I think that it is possible for one person to act as a sender and another a receiver, and for their thoughts to go from one to another. Let me give you a little test that you can try. This is very simple. I don't know of anyone who's ever tried this and failed. Next time you're in a group of people, a restaurant, classroom, in church, on the bus, any place where people get together, and there's a person sitting with their back to you so that you can see their neck. Picture a little circle on that person's neck. Picture it outlined very, very plainly, about the size of a quarter. Stare at this circle until you can really see it. And when you can, imagine a dot right in the middle of that circle. Bear in on that dot with your glance, with your stare, for only a matter of a few seconds. That's all it will take before that person rubs that spot, because they will feel you looking there. Once you've tried this and found that you are able to concentrate your power and send it across the room, then you will begin to have the faith that is necessary for working a real spell. And once you learn to do this, there is nothing in the world that you cannot obtain. Now I'm going to give you directions to work a spell, a very special spell. In fact, it's one of the best ones I know because it can be used for almost any purpose. This is a spell using the 7-knob wishing candle. If you follow these directions exactly, there is no wish that you cannot make come true. Please realize that there is no magic in the candle. There is no magic in the ritual you are going to perform. The magic is all within you. The candle and the ritual serve only to help you focus your own power. The first thing that you should do is to consider your wish very carefully before you attempt to work the spell. And think of all the consequences. Because there are a few things in this life that don't also have some side effects that go along with them. If you are certain that this is what you really want, then you may proceed. First, you get a candle. You can either make this candle yourself or you can buy it. It should be about 4 inches long, and it should be a candle that has been molded rather than one that has been dipped. Dipped candles are in several layers and they're very hard to carve, but a molded candle carves easily. Measure this candle and divide it into 7 equal parts, and notch these parts all the way around the candle so that when you finish you have a candle with 7 even knobs. Now, you may either coat this candle with a particular color which puts you in the right mood for whatever kind of spell it is you're going to work. For instance, if you want to work a spell for money, you might want to paint the candle green. And to do this, you would melt green crayon in a spoon over a flame and simply apply it to the outside of the candle. If you're going to work a spell with this candle of a spiritual nature, you might want to paint the candle purple. If you wanted it for romance, passionate reason, red would probably be the color you chose. If it was to help you intellectually, you might choose blue. You can choose a color which appeals to you in relationship to the spell that you're going to work, or you may use a neutral color and leave the candle white or coat it with black, either one, which are neutral colors. Now, when you have this candle finished, you are ready to begin. You notice the 7 knobs. Each one of these knobs takes about the same time to burn, and you will burn one on each of 7 nights under the following conditions. First of all, you will not eat or drink or put any foreign matter into your mouth after 5 o'clock on the nights which you will be burning this candle. It is most important that you will fast for 7 hours preceding each flame. After you've worked the ritual for that night, if you're very hungry, you may eat before you go to bed. But not for 7 hours beforehand. And don't smoke either. Don't eat, drink, or put anything in your mouth after 5 o'clock. The second thing you must do is practice complete celibacy for the entire week that you are working the spell. Now, the reason for the fasting and the celibacy are that you must give up something so that constantly on your mind is the fact that you are doing something very special. You are sacrificing for a purpose. You are preparing yourself for a great event which will take place at midnight each night. This way you are setting a mood for yourself. Now, you will begin this spell on Sunday at midnight. and you will complete the ceremony the following Saturday at midnight. You should perform this ceremony in complete solitude with nothing to disturb your thoughts. It's best to be completely naked when you perform this, but if you prefer, you may wear a loose robe without any belt. It's very important that there be no binding straps, garters, belts, elastics, or anything like that to confine your movements or to cause you discomfort during the procedure, because you must be able to give every bit of your attention to the spell that you are working. Under no circumstances should you wear any shoes. Now, at precisely 12 o'clock on Sunday night, you will light the candle and burn the first knob. While it's burning, you'll gaze into the flame continuously until the entire knob is burned away. Then you will extinguish the flame, and the next night you will burn the next knob. While you are gazing into this flame, you will chant your wish over and over. Now, you must make certain that it is only one wish. Don't use any ands. Don't try to get a second wish in there, or a wish with special limitations. It must be a simple statement, one wish. And it has to be stated over and over exactly the same way. You must use the same words in the same order and state it the same way each night and each time that you say it. Repeat it over and over in a chanting sort of way, and think no other thoughts. You do this each night for 6 nights, and on the 7th night you will do the same thing, but you will not extinguish the flame. You will allow it to burn itself out. And when this happens, collect the wax drippings that are left and wrap them in a piece of clean, unbleached muslin that has never been used for any other purpose. Tie it securely with a piece of red cotton thread knotted 7 times and bury it in the ground where no one will find it. When you have completed all this, you'll be very tired. Following this exact ritual for an entire week will tire even the most hardy. That is why so few people are really successful with this. You know, they have trouble making their wishes come true because they tire of the strain and they give up before completing the entire ceremony. But if you are able to complete it, when you're finished, drink 3 ounces of fermented fruit juice and go to bed. When you wake the next morning, you should discover that your wish is already coming true. The second spell that I'm going to give you is done with a bulb. Go to the supermarket or a nursery or any place where they sell flower bulbs and buy an amaryllis bulb. Amaryllis come in 3 shades: red, white, and pink. Choose a red one for passion. Bring the bulb home and remove it from the package carefully. Hold it in your hand and christen it with the name of the one that you desire. Then plant this bulb, according to the directions on the package, in a little pot. Each day, care for it. Love it. Talk to it as though it were the person you have in mind. Call it by his name. Say hello and goodbye to the plant when you enter and leave the room. Say good morning and good night to the plant. Tell it of your love. Say the things to this plant that you would like to say to this man. You'll be amazed at the speed with which this plant will grow. The more love that you put into it, the faster it will grow. And as it grows, so will his love for you. And when it blossoms, he will contact you and you will be together. This is a spell for a man to work to obtain the love of a woman. First of all, you must obtain something from that woman's body. A lock of hair, a tear, a drop of blood, perhaps a nail clipping, something of this sort. You must also have some natural beeswax. Now, don't buy bleached or white beeswax for this spell. Get natural beeswax. Best if you can go somewhere where bees are raised and honey is sold and buy it there. If not, you can often find it in a hardware store. Melt the beeswax down and add to it whatever it is that you have from the young lady's body. Her tears or drop of blood or hair or whatever. Melt this and then set it aside to cool. Now, as it cools so that you can begin handling it without burning your hands, form it into the likeness of the one whose love you desire. You don't have to be a great sculptor or a great artist. Just do the very best that you can with this, and imagine as you shape this wax, before it hardens, imagine this wax representing that person. Think of that person as you are shaping this little doll. Now, make it look as much like the person that you desire as you possibly can. Then, when you have finished shaping the doll, take a new steel needle and with it write the name of the girl you desire on the front and the back of the little wax image. Now you must wrap this image in a piece of cloth. It is best if you have a piece of the girl's clothing or a scarf or handkerchief that she's used. If you don't have one of these, use a clean piece of unbleached muslin. Wrap the doll carefully so as not to break it, and put it someplace where the girl will pass over it. Now, in years gone by, when a boy worked the spell, he would dig a hole in the path and bury the doll, and the girl would pass over this place on the path, and then he would dig it up. Nowadays, everything is concrete, and this is kind of a difficult thing to do. So what I would suggest is that you put it under her porch, if she has a porch that you can get underneath, and put the doll there, so that she has to walk over it as she goes up the steps and into the house. If she doesn't have this kind of porch, you might try putting it under the seat of a chair that she will sit in, or under the davenport, or perhaps under the car seat that she will be riding on. Anyway, wherever you put it, you leave it there until you know for sure that this girl has passed over the spot where the doll was. Then you take the doll and very carefully, again, so that you don't break it, unwrap the cloth and put something of yours on the doll, preferably teardrops. Surely if you love this girl this much, you can get up a few tears for her, and shed a few tears if you possibly can, and sprinkle them onto this little wax image. Now take the wax image to a fire and hold it over the flame using tongs so that you don't burn your fingers. Hold this doll over the flame and turn it so that it begins to melt and drip into the fire. And as it does, repeat this. Mary, your heart will melt with love for me. You will burn with desire. Chant this over and over and over until the doll has melted away, and the girl will be yours. There are only 3 things necessary for casting spells. One of these is emotional involvement. This is perhaps the most important, because unless you are emotionally involved, you cannot work up the amount of power necessary to cast a spell. It doesn't make much difference what the emotion is, as long as it fits the spell. For instance, if you're working an evil spell, you may have an evil emotion. Perhaps it'll be greed, hate, vengeance. If you're working a good spell, you may have an entirely different emotion. One of love, desire, compassion. But whatever your spell is, you must have an emotion to make it work. So the first of the three things that you need while working a spell is that, emotion. Now the second ingredient is equally important, and that is imagination. If you don't have a vivid imagination, you will never be able to cast a spell. For what casting a spell really amounts to is getting an idea in your own mind and getting it there so intently that you are able to send that picture to the mind of the person whom you wish to affect, so that they act upon it thinking it was their own idea. This is where all the props in magic come in. You know, the candles, the incense, the potions, the eggs, the herbs. These things have no magic. They aren't magical in any way themselves. The magic, the power, is all within you. But these things are important. They are important because they help you to focus that power. They help work on your imagination to create a mood and to help you visualize what it is that you want to happen. Let me give you an example. There was a woman who once asked me for a spell to keep her husband out of the house next door. She lived next door to a widow, and her husband was constantly going over to the widow's house to do little odd jobs for her, like shovel the snow off the walk or trim the hedges. This she didn't object to in the least. What bothered her was the fact that he would then go into the widow's house for a cup of coffee or something afterward. And this is why she came to me for a spell. She wanted him to stay out of that house. I gave her a spell to accomplish this, something to keep him from going through the door. I'm going to use that spell now to explain to you the importance of the ingredients, the props, and the incantations in working magic, and to show you how they work on your imagination to increase the power that you have when you focus it into one place. I told this woman to get 3 ingredients and mix them together. Now remember, there's nothing magical in these ingredients at all. The magic is within the person working the spell. But these ingredients were important. The first one was dragon's blood. Oh, I can hear you laughing now. You say, what nonsense? There's nothing like dragon's blood. Well, there aren't any dragons running around that you can stick pins in. But there is something that we call dragon's blood. That's the sap from a tree that grows in Malaysia. And when it's dried, it looks like dried blood. You can buy this in little curio shops in different parts of the city. It comes wrapped in palm leaves. And when you bring this home and unwrap your little package and take this out and think of using it in a spell, it has an effect upon your mood. It makes you ready for magic. Can you think of anything more exciting than buying a package of dragon's blood and mixing it with other ingredients to get exactly what you want? You see, this creates a mood. And a mood is very important. The second ingredient that I told her to use was sulfur. Now, sulfur brings to most people's mind the picture of a flame. And this is exactly what I wanted her to think of. I wanted her to be able to see a fire as she worked this spell. And that was the purpose of the second ingredient. Now, the third thing that I suggested she mix in this potion was saltpeter. And saltpeter also has a connotation to most people of inhibiting her man in some way. Now, she was to mix these together and spit in it and make a paste. And take this paste at exactly midnight and go next door and spread it along the door, both at the front and the back of the house. Now, midnight, that's the witching hour. But do you know why? There are two very good reasons. First of all, if you're going to put an idea into the mind of another person, the best time to do it is when they're sleeping, when they're most receptive, and her husband is most apt to be asleep. The second reason for working a spell at that time is because you're less apt to get caught. That's very important. For if a spell is interrupted, it's really not so. Now, she was to spread this both at the front and at the back door. And as she did, she was to say a little incantation that I gave her 7 times at the front and 7 times at the back of the house. This incantation was a chant, a verse that is said over and over and over in exactly the same way, so that it has a hypnotic effect upon the person working the spell, so that they can really see what it is that they want to happen. Send that picture to the mind of their victim. The incantation that I wrote for her was a very simple one. It went like this. Man of mine, stop, I say, for here's a wall of flame. Through that wall you cannot pass, for what is mine, I claim. And she was to visualize her husband coming up to that door, seeing that wall of flame, and being unable to pass through, turning around and coming home to her. Now, it worked. It really did. She wrote me and told me exactly what happened. The very next day happened to be garbage collection day. And her husband got up very early and went over to the widow's house and took the garbage cans out of the garage and carried them out to the curb for the garbage collector. When he started back up the sidewalk, the widow came to the door and called to him and invited him to come in for a cup of coffee. He very eagerly ran up the front steps, and when he got to the door, he stopped. He talked to her for a few minutes, and he came home. His wife was watching all of this out the window. When he came home, she said, "Honey, how come you didn't go in for a cup of coffee?" And he said, "I don't know. But when she opened that door, it was so hot in there, I thought I'd suffocate." Now, do you see how this felt? He didn't see a wall of flame. He didn't hear his wife screaming for him to come home. But this idea was in his mind. She had planted it there in his subconscious when he was sleeping. It was there so deeply and so firmly that he actually felt the heat from that flame, and it inhibited him from going into the house next door. Now, the emotion and the imagination are the two first ingredients in working a spell. The third, and perhaps the most forceful, is that of faith. For without the faith, the others will be nothing. You must believe that what you are doing will be. In fact, most spells are ended in this way, by the witch or person working the spell saying, "As I say, so might it be." And now, you cast the spell. This is a spell to discourage an unwanted suitor. You will need these things: a black candle, a white candle, a bottle of black ink, some paraffin wax, a rose of deep red hue, and a photograph of the person you wish to discourage. First, you must prepare the rose. You do this by picking little holes in the petals to form your own initials. When you've done this, melt the paraffin in a pot and quickly dip the rose up and down in the paraffin wax so that it fills up the holes and your initials stand out from the color of the rose. Then stand the rose with the stem in the bottle of black ink and leave it this way for several hours so that the ink will seep up into the rose and dye the petals black. When this has happened, you are ready to proceed with the actual spell. Lay the picture of the one that you wish to discourage on the floor in front of you and place the black rose over the picture. Stand the white candle to one side of the picture and the black candle to the other side. Light the candle and repeat after me the following incantation. Wild and whirling spirits are in my thoughts. Demons are in my mind. This man is the object of my distemper, so that I may find relief and release. This rose infuses with magic to carry a dire warning to him. Cease your suit, or so beware! When you have completed this, wrap the rose in black tissue and place it in a box. Leave this box on the doorstep, just outside the door of the one you wish to discourage, and he will bother you no more.
All right. Hope you all enjoyed that. That was that was pretty wild. It was creepier than I remember it being. But anyway, that was The Hour of the Witch by Gundella. The whole thing. That was from 1971. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Mick's Mix. I'll be back next Monday doing some sort of theme. I'll also be back on Sunday for my Sherlock Mystery Adventure show as well. Sunday 4 to 6. And then Mick's Mix Monday to 10 like it was tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the show and have a grand rest of your night. Bye-bye.